Hi, I'm Wayne Brown, and this is another video from Yet They Resist. I tell you stories about racism when I was a young boy and a teenager. I tell you these stories to illustrate that it really doesn't matter how old or how young you are with a racist. They will attack you, they will hurt you, or even kill you, no matter what your age is. It just doesn't matter to them. It never has. Growing up in New Orleans as a young boy and a teenager was always great. We always looked forward to the holidays. But one particular holiday that we always looked forward to, and that was Mardi Gras. Most of the time that when we attended Mardi Gras parades, it was in New Orleans along Canal Street, St. Charles Avenue, Napoleon Avenue, and along those stretches. There were other areas outside of New Orleans like St. Bernard Parish and Jefferson Parish, which are adjacent parishes next to Orleans Parish. And the parish in Louisiana is similar to what you would have counties in other states. So St. Bernard Parish was one of the other parishes that's adjacent to Orleans Parish. And there's an area that's right next to the Lord Ninth Ward called Araby, Louisiana. That is in St. Bernard Parish. They would have Mardi Gras festivities along with Jefferson Parish. Those two parishes during my time growing up were predominantly white parishes. New Orleans was just like a mixture of everybody. And one of the things that we were told is don't go into St. Bernard Parish because there's just a lot of racists there. Well, you know, Mardi Gras being what it is, and of course St. Bernard Parish started their parades a week before us, I was a little anxious one year. And I think I was about 13 years old. And I think I was that age because I remember being in junior high school. And we didn't have middle school, we had junior high school. And I remember going over to into St. Bernard Parish, into Araby, which is right next to the Lord Ninth Ward in New Orleans. And the Lord Ninth Ward is a predominantly African-American area. And then as soon as you cross, then there's the Jackson Barracks. Then as soon as you cross the border, which is like a train track, you basically enter into St. Bernard Parish in Araby, Louisiana, okay? So they were having they kicked off their first Mardi Gras parade a week before New Orleans kicked off there. So I was anxious that year. I decided to go over. And when I went over there, I noticed that a lot of the white people just was looking at me, just like, what are you doing over here? Like, and I'm talking about adults. I don't think the kids really cared that much, but the adults were looking at me like, what are you doing over here? So I kind of nervously just stayed there and just caught beads and doubloons. And on my way, I was walking back after the parade. I was walking back to Orleans Parish because it was only maybe about a 6-block separation between the end of Orleans Parish and the Lord Ninth Ward and Araby and where the parades were. And as I was walking back, just minding my own business, all of a sudden I heard footsteps running behind me. And it was 2 black guys, young black guys running, and they just passed me up, zoom. And then I looked behind again, and there were 4 white guys chasing them, zoom. And not only did the 4 white guys pass me up, they were running after the black guys, the 2 black guys. I don't know what happened, what they did or whatever. And then they must have ran maybe like 50, 60, maybe 75 feet past me. Then they just stopped, almost like they realized they just passed up a black guy who wasn't running from them. And as I was walking towards them, I began to think, oh, heck, you know, and they didn't say a word. And as I was going through and I was walking through, as I was getting closer and closer, they jumped at me. And I'm just swinging, so they just start jumping me. And I'm swinging back and fighting off of 4 white boys who basically jumped me. And, you know, and I'm just like fighting. And being in the projects where I was raised, of course, you just learn how to fight because that's what you learn how to do. So I'm fighting back, but I'm fighting and running at the same time. I started running because the borderline to the Lord Ninth Ward was only about 2 blocks away. And I know they wasn't going to cross that line and come into the Lord Ninth Ward. And so they stopped. And I was able to make it across into the promised land, if you want to say that, and really into safety. Simply because I wanted to just enjoy a Mardi Gras parade a week earlier in a predominantly white area, and they didn't want me there. And so these four white boys, young white boys, I would say they were probably teenagers too, they decided to jump me. You know, so there's another incident that I want to tell you. It has nothing to do with Mardi Gras, but it has to do with my desire to work. I was about 16 years old. And there was an area in Jefferson Parish, like I said, St. Bernard, Jefferson Parish at that time was predominantly white areas. But there was an area that was coming up called Fat City that was in Metairie, Louisiana, right behind Lakeside, I believe, Lakeside Plaza or Lakeside Mall in Metairie, Louisiana. And it's up and coming. And what Fat City was like a Jefferson Parish version of Bourbon Street. And if you've ever been to New Orleans, and if you know New Orleans, you know what Bourbon Street is all about, right? And so they tried to make a version of Bourbon Street, not in New Orleans, but in Jefferson Parish, which is in Metairie, Louisiana. And they had job openings. And I was always wanted to work as a young man and wanted to make money during the summertime, and this was the summertime. So I started applying for jobs, and I applied for a job there in that area. And I got a job working for this company that was owned by, it was a bar and it was a restaurant. And it was two separate locations, about a half a block or a block to a half a block from each other. And the name of this restaurant was called, you know what, I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but the name of the bar was the Pumping Station. And the owner was by the name of Bill. I know his last name, but I'm not going to say it right now. It starts with a P though. He was the owner of the pumping station, and he hired me to be a porter. And a porter is someone who basically mop floors, wipe things down, clean the bathrooms, clean toilets, things like that. I mean, I didn't really mind doing that work. I was about 16 years old. I just wanted to have a job and make some money because I know I was going to go to college and, and go on and live my life, and knowing that I would have to do that for the rest of my life. But it was a job. And what he would do, I would go in and I would clean up the restaurant, clean the floors, clean the toilets in the restroom. And then I'll go over into the pump station during the day, which was a bar. It was a bar, but during the day it was empty. And I would go over there and clean the bathrooms, the urinals, everything, the men's restroom, the women's restroom. And one of the things that he did, he paid all of his employees during their shift, except for me. He made me come back at night and pick up my paycheck. I don't know why, but he did. I have a good suspicion as to why he did that, but he made me come back at night to pick it up. And he wanted me to come at 10 o'clock, so I had to call him around 9 o'clock when he was at the bar, because typically he was at the bar. And he would tell me to come get the money. Instead of just leaving it for me when I was there during the day, he would have me come there at night to pick it up. And here I am, a 16-year-old young man, teenager. I had my 10-speed, gold color 10-speed bike, and I had to ride my bike. It was approximately 9 miles to get from where I was in New Orleans, uptown New Orleans, all the way into Fat City. About a 9-mile trip, and it was scary. It was scary because part of it, I had to be on the freeway for a small stretch. It was scary. And then when I decided to go around the other way, it just added maybe a couple of more miles onto my trip, which I did. But he would make me come do it. And there's one particular time when I got there. As I rolled up to the bar, and I wasn't even legal age to get into the bar, but we still can walk in. And I would walk in this bar to talk to him and get my money. So there's one particular day that when I got there, there was 4 white boys that were standing outside. They didn't say anything to me, but they looked at me. And I took my bike and I chained it up. And I went into the bar. And I was kind of nervous because I thought they could do something to my bike, maybe steal my bike, even though I had it chained. I walk into the bar and I'm talking and to Bill, and he said, okay, and he started telling me how bad of a job I was doing. Once again, trying to tell me that I was doing a bad job. I know how to clean up because my mom taught me how to clean up correctly and do it right. So when he went in the back, his girlfriend was at the bar. She's probably like 38, 39. I'm like 16 years old. She's talking to me. And so I'm responding to her, just really, not anything, just talking back. And so he comes out and he basically threatens my life. He basically said, I don't want you talking to her. I effing kill you. Don't say anything. You don't got a goddamn thing to say to her. And then a lady was like, Bill, calm down. I asked him a question. He answered it and so forth. And that was it. And he was like, you're already doing a lousy ass job, blah, blah, blah. And, but he threatened my life. Here is a grown man threatening my life. Grown white man threatening my life. And I'm thinking, what possessed it later? It wasn't at that particular time, but later I'm thinking, what would possess a grown man to threaten a 16-year-old teenager with his life just because he was talking to his white girlfriend? It's reminiscent of the days when you heard about the Emmett Tills, when a young black boy would, or a young man or teenager would say something to a white woman and she'll go say something to the white guy and they'll go get a mob and go out there and grab him and kill him and hang him, like they did with Emmett Till and some other young black men. There was even a town in Tulsa that got burned down simply because this white lady said that this young black man in the elevator did something to her. And according to history, he didn't do anything to her. So it's just things like that what possesses a person to do this, something like that. Needless to say, the third incident, when I walked outside, those white boys, they slashed both of my tires. So now I'm stuck out in Fat City, in Metairie. And I had to call my mom because she was working. And I had to wait actually till the following morning because she was working overnight and she couldn't leave. And I called her and said, could you pick me up? So I ended up going over to the restaurant and I hung out there for the whole night only because I had to go out and get my paycheck at 10 o'clock at night. And when I walked in, I got insulted and threatened by this white man who's my boss and the owner. And then I got my tire slashed by 4 white boys that was out there. I don't know, maybe one of them did it, but they all 4 of them are culpable. This is the kind of things, and these people are still alive today. I'm not sure about the owner, but these are the people who are still alive today. And they talk about, well, racism doesn't exist, or systemic racism. These people are still alive today. Those 4 white boys are my age. The ones who slashed my tires, the ones who chased me out of Arabi, they're still alive today, probably. They're probably around my age or a little bit older. And so, the thing about white supremacy is white supremacy gives rise to racism. And racism, allows supremacists and allow white supremacist prowess to attack, mistreat, and even sometimes kill minorities with impunity. And we see this going on. And it's not that what we're seeing today that's being filmed is something new. This has been going on for decades, for centuries. And you know what the difference is today? Is that it's being filmed. Everybody has a cell phone and everybody has a video camera. And so what we're catching is all these actions by racist white people and a system that basically promotes it and basically have allowed it to grow and manifest itself to its fullest evil potential. This is why it is a lot of times we, as African Americans, we're saying, well, it's a crime walking around. It's not a crime walking around. It's like a walking while black or driving while black. And what we're referencing to is the fact that just because we're African American, smart, intelligent, just as human as anyone else, beautiful, handsome, all those particular qualities that we have as a people come in multiple shades and everything. And the only thing we want is the same thing. But then you have a group of people out there, particularly white people, say, no, you can't have that. They have said that for so many years. And yet we want exactly what is fair and what is right in America. With that said, I'm going to end right here. So like I said before, if you haven't already subscribed, I want you to click on one of the buttons down here that says subscribe, and I want you to subscribe so the next time I release a video, you'll be notified. And also click the link if you haven't done it already and drop in your email so we can stay in touch. And just in case the video is taken down, I can email you and notify you exactly where I have set up a different platform and where you can come in and look. And as always, perhaps you leave a comment and say something. And just express yourself and tell your story. Maybe you have something that's very similar that could be useful for not only for others who are watching, but who also read this, but that will help someone else be able to relate to the stories and the messages that we're trying to convey here, so we can make constructive change and make that change now, not later, but now. I love you as always. God bless you. Take care. See you again next time.